Have you ever wondered what lies beneath the sands of the Sahara? This desert has been pulling travelers, animals, and even cities into its depths for centuries. But what if I told you that recent discoveries by scientists have left the world in awe? Today, you will learn about incredible discoveries that have changed our understanding of the Sahara and its ancient mysteries. So, get ready to dive into a world that shatters familiar stereotypes and reveals something truly amazing. The seas and oceans have always been home to amazing creatures. One of them was Macromosaurus rex, a 9-meter-long crocodile that lived in the waters that later became the Sahara Desert, around 120 million years ago. This is the largest known oceanic crocodile in science. Macromosaurus rex lived in a lagoon connected to the Tethys Ocean, where it hunted sea turtles and fish. This reptile likely scavenged, feeding on larger creatures' carcasses. Today, the Sahara Desert is inhospitable, but this allows paleontologists to discover fossils easily due to the lack of vegetation. The land is also frequently hit by meteorites. The lack of vegetation and fertile soil allows scientists to find amazing fossils right beneath their feet. The Earth is constantly under attack from meteorites coming from outer space. Most of them safely burn up in the atmosphere, leaving only a glowing streak in the night sky. Others reach the planet's surface, causing significant destruction. Because many of these catastrophes occurred in the distant past, the resulting craters often go unnoticed because erosion or vegetation masks them. However, in desert areas, the scars from collisions with celestial bodies are still visible. For example, the Camel Crater, which is 147 feet and 6 inches in diameter, located in southwestern Egypt, was created by the impact of an iron meteorite about 5,000 years ago. Fragments of the meteorite that broke apart upon hitting the ground were found in the vicinity of the crater. This is far from the only case. Almost every fifth meteorite particle found on the planet was discovered in the Sahara. Only the ice of Antarctica proves to be more fertile when it comes to ancient meteorites. Even if the traces of meteorites and their craters have disappeared after thousands of years, other evidence of cosmic collisions can still remain. About 29 million years ago, a meteorite struck Earth, releasing enough energy to melt a significant area of the Libyan desert, turning the sand into thin sheets of green glass. The crater created by the explosion has yet to be found, but shards of this unusual glass can still be found in the desert, sometimes turning up in the most unexpected places. When Howard Carter discovered the tomb of Tutankhamun, among the treasures he found a jeweled chest plate that belonged to the deceased pharaoh. At the center of the ornament was a sacred scarab beetle carved from green glass. The Egyptians probably did not know the origin of the glass they used. But interestingly, another artifact was found that was made from extraterrestrial material. One of the daggers in the tomb was made from meteorite iron. In April 2021, scientists discovered an ancient city hidden beneath the sands of the Sahara. It is believed to have been founded during the reign of Pharaoh Amenhotep III. French explorer Mohammed Ali Abdallah noted that the excavations at this site, located near Luxor in Upper Egypt, will require a long-term effort. But the most shocking mystery is the ancient underground network of communications located beneath the Ghot Oasis near the Algerian border. The first mentions of these tunnels date back to 1919, when a French expedition stumbled upon them by chance. We're talking about a complex system of tunnels, chambers, ventilation shafts, and other structures carved right into the rock. The initial hypothesis was that the tunnels were used for supplying water to the arid regions of the Sahara. Around the 3rd millennium BC, the last green period in the history of the desert came to an end, after which the process of intense desertification began. Garamantes existed. Details are scarce. A state known as the Garamantes emerged in the region, also referred to as Garamantida. There's not much information left about the Garamantes. They represented a highly developed Caucasoid culture, known as the Sea Peoples, who penetrated into North Africa. The existence of the Garamantes is documented. Tuaregs and Garma tribe see Garamantes descent. Tunnels with screams suggest trapped people. Garamantes ruled Sahara oases and trade routes. According to the stories from members of these tribes, sometimes you can hear strange sounds in the tunnels that resemble human screams, as if the people who were left there didn't manage to escape before some catastrophic event. The Garamantes controlled most of the oases and trade routes across the Sahara. Archaeologists found that they had a complex system of plumbing, made up of a series of wells connected by tunnels. It's quite possible that it was the Garamantes who built these underground structures, considering the multifunctionality of the tunnels. Additionally, the Garamantes were involved in mining, creating shafts and mines. It's quite possible that it was the Garamantes who built these underground structures, considering the multifunctionality of the tunnels. In addition, the Garamantes were involved in mining, creating shafts and mines. The state of the Garamantes existed until 669 AD, when it was destroyed by Arab conquerors. However, some historians point out that Herodotus wrote nothing about the mysterious tunnels. Perhaps the Garamantes carefully guarded the secret of their existence, or perhaps the construction of the tunnels began much earlier, even before the appearance of the Garamantes, by the forces of an unknown civilization. According to an alternative theory, this vast network of underground communications could have served as a kind of otherworldly refuge for the chosen inhabitants of Garamantida. It's believed that among the Garamantes were outstanding astronomers and astrologers, one of whom predicted the approach of the neutron star Typhon, also known as the Medusa Gorgon. It was believed that this event could lead to the end of the world, so the Garamantes began building an underground city to prepare for the disaster in advance. The star Typhon is also mentioned in the works of the prophet Michel Nostradamus, dated 1562. Interestingly, it was in the 16th century that the star Typhon came close to Earth again, long after the time of the Garamantes. In myths and legends, Typhon is given various names, such as Tiamat, the red-haired dragon, Huracan, Matu, Garuda, and others. Sometimes he is depicted as a three-headed dragon. There's a suggestion that the three horsemen of the apocalypse from the Bible might be related to this mythical creature. Interestingly, in recent years, there's been renewed talk about the star Typhon, Medusa Gorgon, even though some sources say its full cycle of approaching Earth is about 3,500 years, while only about 400 years have passed since the time of Nostradamus. After the Garamantes, there are over 50,000 burials left, and according to some sources, even around 100,000. This indicates a high population density in the region at that time. Therefore, there was no shortage of labor. The Garamantes didn't seem to fear death and celebrated the passing of their loved ones with particular enthusiasm. They held elaborate mourning ceremonies that drew large crowds of people. The Garamantes spoke a Berber language and used the Tifinagh script, an ancient Libyan alphabet. Some records remain undeciphered, but they have survived. Although modern scholars are familiar with this script, they have not yet been able to decipher the texts left by this people. Nevertheless, it's clear that some records have indeed survived. The Garamantes had a very mystical view of the world and probably believed in an afterlife. There is a hypothesis that is more mythological in nature. Supposedly, the tunnels were dug by the Garamantes to fill them with water and house a being named Dagon, a hybrid of a human and a fish. This Dogon could not stand sunlight, and it was believed that its well-being ensured the prosperity of the Garamantidae. Researchers who measured electromagnetic vibrations inside the caves claimed to have periodically heard sounds similar to muffled screams. Interestingly, these sound bursts are not auditory hallucinations, as they are also recorded by instruments. One way or another, the Garamantes died not because of a mysterious star, but as a result of very real military actions. The purpose of these catacombs will probably only be revealed once the language and messages of this ancient people are deciphered. Stay tuned, and you'll find out what other discoveries scientists have uncovered in the sands of the Sahara. Let's continue the conversation about marine discoveries in the desert by recalling the Spinosaurus, the largest carnivorous dinosaur ever found by scientists. Living around 95 million years ago, the Spinosaurus reached a height of about 23 feet and a length of 52 feet, which was significantly larger than the more famous Tyrannosaurus rex. The Spinosaurus was very different from its famous relative. It had a huge sail made of bone running along its back, along with several other features that puzzled scientists for a long time. Today, it's believed that the Spinosaurus was the only known semi-aquatic dinosaur. Since the original Spinosaurus bones were lost during World War II, it wasn't until 2014 that new fossils were discovered in Morocco, allowing researchers to study this dinosaur in more detail. One indication of its partial aquatic habitat is its long, flat paws. Ideal for swimming, and nostrils located high on the muzzle, which allowed him to breathe even when mostly underwater. Without a doubt, the sight of the approaching giant sail on its back would have struck as much terror into the inhabitants of the ancient seas as a shark's fin does today. In any place in the desert where water is found, life is sure to spring up. When people lived near Napta Playa in southern Egypt 96,000 years ago, this area was flooded every year, creating a lake. Neolithic tribes came here to provide food and water for their herds. These people didn't just survive in such conditions, they also created a unique culture of sacrifice. Archaeologists found the remains of cows, sheep, and goats buried according to specific ritual practices. About 6,000 years ago, the locals set up large stone blocks, forming a circle. Researchers believe that this stone circle, which is 1,000 years older than the famous Stonehenge, represents one of the earliest known astronomical structures. Discussions are still ongoing about what exactly this circle symbolizes, but one scientist proposed that it corresponds to the position of Orion's belt as it appeared 6,000 years ago. The Sahara Desert hasn't always been lifeless. Over millions of years, the climate changed and the boundaries of the sands shifted. Sahara's history is noted. A river once flowed from the desert, evidence from an underwater canyon off Mauritania. Research has shown that at one time, a river flowed out of the desert, which had the 12th largest watershed in the world. The remains of an underwater canyon off the coast of Mauritania confirm the existence of this river. It was pierced by the river's current. River deposits have also been found in unexpected places. Using satellites, scientists have definitively confirmed the presence of the lost river, which they've named Tamanrasset. Researchers are still looking for information about this body of water, which may have dried up just 5,000 years ago. Not just rivers have been buried under the sands of the Sahara. Over millions of years, the area that was once part of an ocean has turned into one of the driest places on the planet. In Wadi al-Haytan in Egypt, you can find traces of the ancient Tethys Ocean. This place, known as the Valley of the Whales, is one of the best spots for finding fossils of cetaceans. When the ancestors of modern whales died in the sea about 37 million years ago, their bodies were covered with thick layers of sediment. Later on, when the Earth's crust rose, their former underwater home became land. Today, paleontologists are studying skeletons that are up to 49 feet long, as well as the remains of creatures that shared the ocean space with whales. Next to the whale bones, teeth from enormous sharks were found. For over 150 years, starting from the first discoveries in the 1850s, scientists have debated the nature of the mysterious creatures that lived hundreds of millions of years ago. The mystery was unveiled in early 2019 when new fossils discovered in Morocco helped paleontologists identify this strange creature. The life form known as stelliphores looked like armored wall hangings with a long arm extending from the side. Previously, scientists even doubted whether they should be included in the genealogy of animals. However, new research has shown that these creatures belonged to the echinoderm type, the ancient ancestors of animals like starfish, crinoids, sea urchins, feather stars, and sea cucumbers. Lead researcher Bernard Lefebvre stated that the discovery was made possible by fossils containing exceptionally well-preserved soft tissues in both the appendage and the body of the stylophoran. Although these fossils were found in the Sahara back in 2014, researchers didn't immediately realize that some of the 450 discovered stylophoran samples had preserved soft tissues. This discovery is especially important because it settles a 150-year debate about where these unusual fossils fit on the tree of life, Lefebvre emphasized. It seems almost impossible to fully uncover all the mysteries hidden in the Sahara Desert. However, humanity has already managed to solve some of them, while the rest continue to wait for their moment for millions of years. Now, my friends, I want to make you an interesting offer. You have a unique opportunity to become part of our team. If you have video editing skills, can voice videos in Russian, English, and other languages, or write interesting scripts, we will be glad to work with you. Message our Telegram bot, the link is in the description. That's all for today, bye for now.